Andrew McCutchen gave the Pirates breathing room with one big swing, and collectively the team's offense rode the wave. That's next on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, I'm Gary Morgan. This is Locked On Pirates, and today we're going to talk about Kutch, the overall offense, and a quick look ahead at tonight's game. Start with Kutch. Andrew McCutchen stroked a 3-run shot that jump-started the offense to a 9-3 drubbing of the Angels last night. It was his 237th as a Pittsburgh Pirate. It puts him 3 behind Roberto Clemente on the all-time Pirates list, for third in team history. Anytime that you're mentioning Roberto Clemente in the same sentence as something you've done as a Pittsburgh Pirate, you've probably done pretty well for yourself. He's hit 321 total, which is tied with Ron Gant for 132nd in baseball. Some of you will remember him from the old Braves rivalry back in the early 90s. This was a big swing through, though, in his game, in this game. And honestly, after Andrew's comments that we talked about on yesterday's show about playing time and consistency, well, this is how you perform when you get that playing time. If you're going to run your mouth, no matter who you are, and you come out and perform like that, nobody's going to question that you ran your mouth. Not anymore. So, like, exactly what you want to see happen. The next thing to see is if they listen to him and keep this lineup 2 days in a row. We'll talk about that more in the third segment. It is another right-handed pitcher, though, so one would hope. It was a crazy performance. And I would honestly say they probably earned running this lineup right back out there. That said, let's keep the first segment here focused on Kutch. He's now 25 behind Bill Mazeroski for 6th in RBI for the Pirates, and that's as high as he'll go in this Bucks list anyway. Paul Waner is 5th with 1,177. I don't see Kutch playing quite that long. He needs 854 for sole possession of 6th. That's possible this year. He's done this while being 9th in at bats for this team, so it's not like he's done this via just longevity. For instance, Roberto Clemente has the most at bats of any Pirates player ever. So to be like creeping up on any of his records, you're nowhere near the amount of at bats it took him to get there. So still pretty interesting. He has a chance to pass Archie Vaughn for 9th on the all-time hits list. He has 1,681. Vaughn has 1,709. This, too, will be as far as he gets. Mazeroski's next with 2,016. He won't be around long enough for that one either. And then how about this little nugget that I think I saw Noah Hiles tweet out? The Pirates with Kutch in the lineup are 8-7. The Pirates when Kutch doesn't start, 1-8. Big difference there, right? Maybe Kutch isn't so wrong about some of the things that he was saying about the team needing to start him a little bit more often. I still think it's difficult to do. There are reasons that you would want to pull the DH out from under him here and there. There are reasons that you might want to use the DH spot to rest other guys. I know we like to make a lot of fun of Derek Shelton feeling that these players need rest, but they do. And other teams do it too. It's just when you go into a series like against, say, the Angels, all right? Listen, their big star, Mike Trout, right? Mike Trout has had more injury problems than just about any position player I can think of, maybe short of Chris Bryant. I mean, as far as like big, highly capable players being injured an awful lot, well, Mike Trout's been injured an awful lot. You won't see him sit this entire series, I would bet. Well, that's what you expect when you go and face a lot of teams. Pirates are definitely not like that. They will sit whoever. So it's definitely a real problem and something I think we're going to see play out as we continue to go through this series in particular. Another very, like we're going to talk about in the third segment, a very similar matchup to last night. So if you thought this was a good lineup for that, and clearly it was, you should think that it's a good lineup for this, because I think it would be clearly a good lineup for this. It's the same type of pitcher, the same types of standard there. All in all, the Pirates had a great day. I wish that I could tell you that it was sustainable, but this early on, nothing is. You'll find that numbers don't have as much meaning this early in the season. This isn't like June where everybody's got 200 at bats and you're barely moving the needle up or down when you have a good performance or a bad performance. This start, though, in Los Angeles, the Angels have been down. They were 3-7 going into this game in their last 10. Obviously, now that's 2-8 for their last 10. They've struggled, especially on the mound. Soriano is one of their better starters, so they got to him. And you can't discount that. It's important that they jumped out the way they did and took it over. I felt like for the first time in quite some time, I found myself agreeing with Derek Shelton a couple times. I was like, I noted it actually on X. I was like, am I agreeing with Derek Shelton's decisions here? I mean, he made a choice early on to pinch hit Jared Triolo for Emmanuel Valdez. And Emmanuel Valdez was the only guy who didn't have a hit thus far in the lineup. But it was a righty-lefty matchup call that he made, and that was fine. And Triolo rewarded him with a base hit, which you certainly couldn't have expected from how Triolo came into this game looking as far as offense goes. That was a good move. Another good move, and we'll talk about this more in segment 2, but David Bednar being used in the 7th inning, I thought was pretty smart. It was a lower leverage situation. It wasn't a save situation. It was just, let's move the needle forward. It was a tighter game when he was scheduled to come in, just because the Pirates did work to make sure that it was even more stress-free. Doesn't mean that they didn't intend to bring him in to protect a 3-run lead there in the 7th. And, to his credit, he has looked better in his 2 outings since coming back from AAA. It's best case scenario. I know a lot of people probably value being right more than they value getting a good performance from a player, but this is exactly what you need to see from people, especially like David Bednar. He's supposed to be a star on this team, and you need him to be. The bullpen has performed well in general, and there's nothing wrong with adding in someone else who's supposed to perform well. I thought that was a great start. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll jump right back into the overall offense. I really want to talk to some of the numbers that cropped up last night. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. We're going to talk about the overall offensive performance last night. Where do I start? 18 hits, 9 runs. I mean, if you picked up a bat, you got on base last night. In fact, everyone other than Emmanuel Valdez had a hit, and even he walked. Jared Triolo even had a hit, and all he did is pinch hit. It's so early in the season, one performance like that, and the Pirates jumped to 26th place in batting average. This one game, people, raised the team batting average 17 points. This is why looking at lineups, and I mean anyone's lineup at this stage of the season, and looking at batting averages or ERAs, it's kind of silly. When we get to like late May, early June, these numbers are going to start to move with a performance. They're going to move with a performance like this, but they're not going to move 17 points. You're going to move a point or two up. And it's going to be a much, much different thing. I mean, listen to some of these numbers now. Like IKF is now hitting 293 after last night. He was just in the 260s yesterday. Brian Reynolds is at 263. Just yesterday, he was at 240. O'Neal Cruz, 236. Again, just yesterday, just over 200. Adam Frazier's up to 217. Even Tommy Pham, after 3 hits, is sniffing 200. We've done enough Kutch, but he's up to 246 now. Long story short, it's why you have to start massing numbers before you really judge based on them. That doesn't mean you have to give everyone 200 at-bats to make decisions, but it does mean you have to watch them play early on to really understand how they're doing, not just look at the numbers. Bailey Falter left this game with lower back strain. Probably should be okay. But he does look like he was dealing with it for most of the game. So they pulled him after 4. And it looked like it could have been just because he was getting hit. But the Pirates clarified that it was indeed because of a lower back problem, which kind of explains why the whole dugout ran out onto the field to make sure that he was okay after he gave up a hit there at some point. But I think Bailey will probably be fine. The bullpen was lights out. Chase Shugart continues to just be a story. I think he's had 8 innings now, and he's only given up 1 run. He has been crazy good. And the stuff's not insane. He's only throwing it up there like 92, 93. But he's got a lot of movement, and there's a lot of deception in his delivery, I'm finding. Very interesting. I asked my friend Ed Hand, who covers the Boston Red Sox, which is where Chase came from. There was a lot of people that had a lot of belief in him over there, too. So they were kind of sad to see him dealt. But, decent acquisition. Chase Shugart has really done well. David Bednar, we discussed in the 7th. I think that was an important outing for him. It was clean. He got a swing and a miss on that high fastball, placed much better than he was before he went down to AAA, meaning it's above the zone, but it's not so far above the zone that it's easy to spit on. That's the perfect place for David Bednar's 4-seam fastball, especially if he's landing everything else. And guess what? He was landing everything else. David Bednar looks like he really has changed some things. I don't buy into this being a confidence thing. I really don't. I think this is all about command. He's hitting spots better. That's what makes a difference. If you want to, pretend he's got some confidence voodoo doll now from going down to AAA, that's on you. You have at it. Justin Lawrence got into a little bit of trouble in the 8th. Dennis Santana came in and shut the door for him. And then Ryan Barucki finished out the game. There was no need for a close, obviously. It was 9-3. The Pirates, though, last night left 13 men on base. You don't often leave 13 men on base and win, especially win convincingly. And that's what they did. That's certainly a part of their game that's got to have some attention paid to it. There still needs to be an easier path to score runs for this team. They seem to lock up when they get, and I mean collectively, and almost regardless of who's up, they tend to lock up when they get in those bases loaded or runners at the corners type situations. The ones where all you need is a fly ball, they seem to be the hardest. Even when you can get away with just a ground ball, like you have a runner at third and a ground ball will score the run. They seem to struggle to get that right hit that they need, just that right amount of contact that they have to have. That's something that is definitely going to have to be addressed. And they don't really have anyone that I feel steps up in those situations entirely. Sure, O'Neal Cruz had that grand slam the other day. Andrew McCutchen just had the 3-run shot. So it's not like nobody does or nobody ever does. But even Kutch in those situations, man, you get the impression that he's almost more interested in trying to draw a walk than he is putting something in the air to the outfield to get a run in. And I guess to a degree as a fan, well, if you were asking somebody like Andrew McCutchen or O'Neal Cruz or Brian Reynolds, for that matter, who's been red hot lately too, I should say. Thank goodness for that. Brian Reynolds has got to be clicking for this offense. But you see those guys come up in those situations, and I know I'm preaching, put the bat on the ball, get it out there, get that run in. And to a degree, I do want them to do that. But on another side, maybe I don't. Because you want those guys to impact the baseball and do something with it. You don't want them just hunting like, I can get this one out to like medium depth right field. Let me take a hack at it. I should be okay with that ground ball and I'm out and I score a run. I don't think that's the way you want those guys thinking. But I think when you have certain guys come up, like, I don't know, Ke'Bryan Hayes, I want Ke'Bryan Hayes doing nothing but thinking about shooting that ball to the right side of the infield to get a runner over. I want Ke'Bryan Hayes thinking of nothing other than get this ball in the air to right field or left field to see if I can't get this run home. Ke'Bryan Hayes, to me, is no longer in that echelon of super important hitters that I'm banking on for big production. I'm banking on you for like the bare minimum run scoring effort. Get that run home. Tommy Pham. I don't want Tommy Pham standing up there trying to draw a walk. I want Tommy Pham taking a cut at something he feels he can put in the air. A player that seems to get it is like Adam Frazier. First, Adam Frazier's been hitting too. He's got a 6-game hitting streak now. Average is raised up here, not just from yesterday's game. He's kind of been on the rise, playing great defense. Don't get me wrong. I'm with y'all on wanting to like bench Pham and Frazier. I'm not changing my mind because they had a good game or even a good couple games. Ultimately, this team, to get anywhere, is going to have to replace those players with better players. Let's just call that on the carpet before anybody starts telling me that I've been swayed. But the point of looking at early season averages, and I think it's something that has recurred ever since I started doing this. It's a phenomenon. People on like the 4th or 5th game are pulling up a lineup and going, look at these averages. These guys aren't even major leaguers. Listen, I understand being jaded, but you're looking at like 15 at bats building your average. I'm sorry, like 1 or 2 hits and you look like a competent hitter. 1 hit, you don't. Like you have to understand there's a difference depending on where you are in the season as to whether these averages really matter. You go through some of these opposition numbers, like they were facing rookie Paris last night. He came into that game last night with an OPS over 1,000. Now, is that the type of hitter he is? Probably not. That's just how he started. And kudos to him. Good for him. But he's not 1,000 OPS hitter. This isn't Juan Soto. You have to have a little bit more judgment early in the season, I would say. Watch them play, for one thing. It's easy to tell Tommy Pham has underwhelmed if you've watched him play. If you look at his stats, of course, yeah, they are underwhelming. They look bad. You should think that. You should just not base your entire opinion of what he's doing based on that. For instance, last night, really great running catch early on to kind of save Bailey Falter's bacon. And then last out of the game, he brings a home run back. And it wouldn't have threatened the lead. It wouldn't have threatened the game. It would have just brought them one run closer. But, he sacrificed himself, made a really nice catch. Might have hurt his ribs, which unfortunately some of y'all would really like. But Tommy Pham has done what he can do, at least. He's pitched in defensively. And it's not his fault they play him too much. I don't blame Tommy Pham for getting playing time. I blame the Pirates for giving him too much playing time. I don't hate the player for playing. I know they have to get better, and I don't think he's got all that much better in his ceiling. Okay? He didn't bring a 5-iron today, so I can't tell him to use it. You get what I mean? All in all, grain of salt with stats this early on. We will use them because you have to use them. They're a frame of reference. We're going to talk to them. But I just want you to understand that behind these numbers, there's always a story. There's always something going on. We're going to talk a little bit more in the next segment about tonight's matchup and some things we can expect and some hopes that I have for how they do it. And I want to touch a little bit on some comments from Ben Cherington that really rubbed me the wrong way too. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I love them when I'm on the golf course. They really help me get through 18. I wish they'd help my score a little more, but I certainly feel like I have a little more energy by the time I get done, which is always a good thing. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. We're going to talk a little bit about Ben Cherington's comments before we start talking about tonight's matchup. Ben Cherington echoed something that Derek Shelton did last year that drove me nuts then. And it's talking about not getting luck. I hate it. I hate when managers or GMs fall on that sword. I hate when you act like luck prevented you from doing anything. I see these things all the time, and I just cannot stand it. Baseball, you can measure that thing. You can measure expected batting averages. You can measure expected home runs, expected anything. There's a figure for every figure in baseball. Good chance at this point there's an expected figure that goes with it. A couple years ago, when Jared Triolo burst on the scene, and I will say burst on the scene because his rookie campaign was very good, offensively anyway. Well, he was a BABIP god. I mean BABIP is balls put in play, basically, plus walks. And Jared did a lot of that. He put balls in play. They fell in. He got lucky. In other words, his BABIP number was ridiculous. He got extremely lucky. His batting average should have been way lower than it actually tangibly was because he got a lot of ball luck. A lot of balls fell in. A lot of gap shots, finding green grass here and there. Not hitting with a lot of exit velocity. a lot of people that say they don't want to hear about exit velocity. Well, exit velocity goes right into the calculation for BABIP. It helps determine like whether a ground ball to the right side should have been expected to be a base hit because you hit it 108 and it got gobbled up, or you hit it 65 and it just found a hole. Well, one is expected to be a base hit, one is expected to be an out. Both of those affect your BABIP. Okay. There's all kinds of calculations for this stuff. I'm not going to drown you in it. But if you want, every player has a figure for expected batting average. That's the kind of thing that I think we don't think about often enough. That said, I don't want my coach or my GM coming out and telling me like, oh, all 9 guys that I started are getting very unlucky. All 9 pitchers, well, they're just putting really good swings on their pitches. That was a good pitch they hit that way. Remember when Aroldis Chapman gave up that home run off like 102-mile-an-hour fastball off the plate away last year? And everyone was like, how did he hit that home run? True. How did he hit that home run? But it ain't luck. That's skill. Somebody hit a home run off you, right? Is it unlucky that you threw a 102-mile-an-hour fastball and it still got tagged? Yes. Do you go out and cry about it like it changed the game? No, you don't. You tip your cap. That's what you do. You tip your cap. You don't go, oh, but I was unlucky. I can't stand that. And early on in the season, right, when you say something like that, all it does is tell me you're not planning to make any changes. You're planning to leave it as is. You think that you are basically finding a 4-leaf clover away from turning this thing around, and you aren't. So let's go through tonight's matchup with, oh boy, let me try to pronounce his name properly one more time. Jack Kohanowitz. And I shouldn't be ignorant about this because we have Carmen Majinski, and I'm sure everybody has to deal with that. A lot of this information is coming directly from wonderful piece every day on Steel City Pirates done by Michael Castrogano, where he takes a look at the opposing pitcher and kind of dives into what we can expect. First thing here is this is a lot like Jose Soriano. They're both sinker-heavy guys. They both throw a heavy upper 90s fastball, and they rely on getting ground balls and swing and miss with it, right? That said, this guy, he's really struggling to actually get Ks. Doesn't seem to be able to get the K. Among pitchers with 20-plus innings this season, Kohanowitz has the 7th worst K to walk rate and the 4th lowest K rate. He has been hit by some bad luck, like I just complained about, as his 63% strand rate on the lower side. But the opposing hitters put the ball in play about 80% of the time. Balls are bound to fall in and score runs. That's where I talk about like, okay, yeah, the expected numbers, but you're creating a situation where you're bound to get unlucky because you don't get enough whiff. Looking at the arsenal, he pretty much throws a 4-seam and a sinker. I know he throws a slider and he throws what's supposedly a sweeper, but really when you see slider and sweeper, for most pitchers, this is just StatCast interpreting pitches differently. They're the same pitch, and he just happened to get enough spin on one or two that they wound up looking more like sweepers to StatCast. This happens a lot with 2-seamers too. You'll see those mischaracterized as other things. But or a sinker, sometimes people will not understand it's actually a cutter. It just happened to go down because of your arm angle. A lot of different things that baseball kind of miscalculates when it comes to StatCast. That too will get better. Location's been an issue with Jack as he works outside of the zone often and gets hitters to chase 82%, but isn't able to get whiffs on those swings, 10% to put hitters away. I think it's going to be a decent matchup. All of this prompts me to say, hey, Derek Shelton, run it back. Don't change this lineup at all from last night. I know. I'm asking you to keep Adam Frazier and Tommy Pham in the lineup. I didn't expect to see myself ask this, but I'm telling you, run it back. Run the same exact lineup that you did last night for once in your life, please. Don't change anything. 18 hits. Give these guys a chance to gel a little bit. Andrew McCutchen is scorching hot. Keep him in the lineup. I understand if you want to rest some guys here and there. You have a catcher, you're coming off an off day, though. He's only played one game. Let him play again unless he's hurt. If Tommy Pham hurt himself making that catch to end the game, okay, I get it. But I'd really love to see Derek Shelton just copy and paste that lineup from last night. Let's see what they can do. You got a lefty going in the next game, so you're going to change the lineup a little bit. Let's see what they do today. Let's not mess with it too much. I know that's wishful thinking because we haven't seen him do it very often. I think he's only used the same lineup twice this year. And for the most part, he never uses the same lineup. We've gone almost 200 games into a season before he repeated one before. So I'd really like to see him do that. As far as the Pirates go, we got Andrew Heaney going. Andrew Heaney's been great. So I fully expect him to do well in this, but Andrew Heaney's got a lot of experience with the Angels. He's played them. He was in the same division as them, so he should be very familiar with a lot of these players and vice versa. So we're going to kind of get to see, maybe these guys were part of the reason that Andrew Heaney struggled last year and ultimately got moved to the bullpen. We'll see. I expect him to do well. I think he's actually changed some things from last year to this one, so maybe he's not the same pitcher that he was. But they kept Mike Trout quiet last night. I don't know how long you can do that. And I also don't know where else the big threats are in this lineup if it isn't Mike Trout. He seems to be the major hump you have to get past in their lineup. Got some other guys that are capable. Don't get me wrong. Taylor Ward took them deep last night. But let's see some consistency in this lineup. Let's see Derek Shelton do something different. Let's see if for once, instead of whining about luck, we can try to make our own. Listen, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining the live version of Locked On Pirates. I will do another one of these tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. I'm going to try to do these for the West Coast. That's my solution to the West Coast trip is I'm staying up to watch these games, but I just see no benefit in me trying to record these things when I'm half asleep. So it's much better to do it live. So for those of you that listen to the podcast instead of watching it, I do apologize that you didn't have your podcast waiting for you in the morning, but this is how it works for my schedule. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you for making Locked On Pirates your first listen today, although I made it not your first listen, I'm sure. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Let's go, Bucks.